Shields up, Paladins, and welcome to an Overwatch Hero Guide. As you can tell by the title of this video, I'll be talking to you all about Roadhog and how I like to use this particular character. Roadhog is one of the tanks within Overwatch, as well as he has 600 health. Now with all this being said and done, let's go ahead and jump right on over to his abilities and his weapons. The first thing I want to talk about is his actual weapon, which has a primary and a secondary fire. Let's talk about the primary fire first. So, his weapon is called Scrap Gun. Now, the description of his primary fire is Roadhog's Scrap Gun fires short-range blast of shrapnel with a wide spread. The damage is 1.8 to 6 per pellet, or 45 to 150 per shot. The fall-off range is 15 to 30 meters. The spread angle is a constant 20.1 degrees. Projectile speed is 80 meters per second. The number of pellets is 25 per shot. The rate of fire is 1 shot every 0.7 seconds, or 1.43 shots per second. And the ammo is 6 rounds per magazine. The reload time is 2 seconds, and you can receive headshots with this weapon. Now, quickly going into his secondary fire, which is still the Scrap Gun. The description is alternatively, it can launch a shrapnel ball that detonates farther away, scattering metal fragments from point of impact. So the damage, of course, is from pre-detonation is 50. Post-destination is 1.8 to 6 per pellet, or 45 to 150 per shot. The fall-off range is 23 to 38 meters. Projectile speed is 80 meters per second. Max range is 8 meters, that is the pre-detonation. Number of pellets post-detonation is 25 pellets. The rate of fire is 1 shot for every 0.7 seconds, or 1.43 shots per second. You do have 6 rounds per magazine. You have a 2-second reload time, and of course you can still receive headshots with this secondary fire as well. Now Roadhog initially fires a single projectile, which then explodes into 25 pellets after traveling 8 meters. Now going into his first ability, which is called Take a Breather. Now the description is Roadhog restores a chunk of his health over a brief period of time. So the healing is 300, damage reduction is 50%, casting time is 0.5 seconds, or 2 seconds for the total animation. Duration is 1 second, and the cooldown is 8 seconds. Now this is a channeled ability. Roadhog can only move while it's being used, and stuns can interrupt the healing effect. The entire animation of Take a Breather lasts 2 seconds. The part where healing takes place only lasts 1 second. So Take a Breather can be used to animation cancel Roadhog's reload animation and save half a second off his reload time. Now, his next ability that we have is called Chain Hook. The description is Roadhog hurls his chain at a target. If it catches, he yanks them back into close range. So the damage is 30. Projectile speed is 40 meters per second. Max range is 20 meters. Casting time is 0.3 seconds. And the cooldown is 8 seconds. And you cannot receive headshots with the Chain Hook. Now the Chain Hook cannot pull back friendly targets. The Chain Hook can be used to interrupt channeled abilities, including ultimate abilities. For example, hooking a Fada while she is using her barrage will cancel her ultimate, wasting the effect, while hooking a Reinhardt in the middle of his charge will cancel his charge and will not allow him to inflict his pin effect. The damage of Chain Hook is inflicted the instant that it lands. If this damage is enough to kill the target, the hook will return instantly to Roadhog without holding him in place as it usually does on a hit. Hook targets are released if they leave Roadhog's line of sight before being pulled, and the line of sight checks on Roadhog's position, not his hook. Finally, going into his ultimate ability, which is called Whole Hog. So after cramming a top loader onto his Scrap Gun, Roadhog pours in ammo for a short time. He can crank out a stream of shrapnel that knocks back enemies. So the damage is 7 per pellet, or 4,928 overall. Movement speed is negative 25%. The rate of fire is 128 pellets per second. Casting time is 0.5 seconds. Duration is 5.5 seconds. And you can receive headshots with this ultimate. And the ultimate cost is 2,240%. Now, Roadhog cannot control his rate of fire or use any other abilities during the ultimate. The scrap gun simply fires without even the button being pressed. Scrap gun ammo is refilled by this ultimate. It can be activated with an empty scrap gun, and the ammo count will be full again when the ultimate ends. And then while the ultimate is in use, Roadhog's builds have a red tracer lines on enemy vision, and Whole Hog knocks back enemies at a rate up to 14 meters per second. Now that's all of his abilities in his weapon. Now the kind of strategy that, or how I usually like to play as Roadhog is, for one, he's a very unique tank, to say the least. Now that his playstyle really, I would say, would be focusing on singling out vulnerable enemies and yanking them, basically yanking them back into a slaughter. Because really, once you yank somebody back, you can go ahead, do your close quarter or your primary fire with your scrap gun, and then you usually go right into a melee, boom, that takes them out. Usually 9 out of 10 times. Because you're just maximing out your damage output that you possibly can with that hook. Now, his scrap gun gives him a powerful short to medium range damage, while Take a Breather allows him to remain a persistent threat, even without a friendly support. However, his lack of any kind of barrier makes him a lackluster pick when you're focused on protecting your teammates. He can function as a flanker, where his chain can catch enemies that are unaware and kill them before they can react. With his large heal on a medium cooldown, he can operate for a long period of time away from his team. However, if you can alert your team when you hook an opponent, they will likely shoot at the target, all but guaranteeing their demise. So, really, if Roadhog is your main pick for a tank and you don't really have someone that has a barrier with them, as in Sigma or Reinhardt or Orisa for that matter, you're better off. He would be, if you're going into an MMO style type of thing, he would be your off tank. Roadhog would be, because he's the one that does a little bit more damage while being a tank, but he doesn't have the main ways of, you know, keeping your team up, as in Reinhardt would be your main tank in that particular aspect. But that's really the way that I would like to use Roadhog, is by what I just said there. Really use him to flank. Either use him to flank, or pretty much just be a constant threat, you know, with that constant healing that he's got on a medium cooldown. That gives him 300 health back. You know, that's half his health right there. That can keep him going, unless you, of course, you know, you got the full team on you, of course. That on top of any damage buff that he either gets from Ana or Mercy, or even a Baptiste, that's just constantly keeping him up. He'll be a tough threat to kind of handle, and to kind of get out there and get out of the way. So, with all that being said and done, I would say Roadhog would definitely be a good pick for a tank if you have someone that is playing with a barrier. You know, if you've got a Reinhardt on your team, or if you and a buddy are queuing up as both tanks, if he's a better Reinhardt and you're a better Roadhog, that's perfect. Simply because Reinhardt will stay with the team, you can kind of do your own thing. Not too much anyways, because if you do get singled out, then you know, even though you do a lot of damage, you'll still get outmanned pretty quickly. And specifically, if you have someone that can keep up with you, as in a Genji, possibly even a Tracer, or even a Sombra for that aspect, they can make your day pretty much hectic. And that's the only thing that you got to worry about with Roadhog. So hopefully I answered a lot of questions, comments, concerns. If I did, great. If I did not, please leave a comment down below, and I would love to hear from you. And I would love to see, talk about what I missed and everything like that. Alright guys, so Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all within the next video.